Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Saratoga on Friday is the $100,000 Lucky Coin Stakes, race number 10, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. You can play this race on a nice Friday afternoon card at the spa with a DRF Bets account. Sign up, grab $100 in deposit matches at drf.com/bet. Let's meet the field for the Lucky Coin. This is a restricted stakes race for 4-year-olds and upward which have not won a sweepstake in 2019. And the 3 Disco Partner, who is the class master in this field, and the 8-5 morning line favorite on David Aragona's line, well, he fits the bill, dropping in class. We'll take a look at this field in post-position order, beginning with the number 1 Fig Jelly, and we'll go back to Fig Jelly's most recent race at Monmouth, the Wolf Hill Stakes, Mike. And this is kind of Fig Jelly, isn't he? He's going to finish second after being on the lead and on the rail.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's sort of the story of his life, especially since Jason Service took over and decided that he's a turf sprinter. He won first time out for Service. Since then, it's been a bunch of races like this where, you know, he's right there in the mix. He settles for second best. You know, this horse is pretty good, Dan. I don't really look at him as a horse that I want to be betting in stakes races, but he goes for a really hot trainer for Castellano, and he's going to be a price in this race.
And he faced a nice horse last time out. That Justaholic just came back to earn a 94 Beyer speed figure when finishing second in the De Haas Stakes at Colonial. I don't think we'll see that kind of speed, but maybe he can tuck inside in the pocket for Javier. I'd use him on the bottom of single race exotics. The 2 is Fixed Point, who's stepping up precipitously in class. We'll go back to his most recent start, a starter $50,000 allowance race at Saratoga, and here he is cruising on the lead, Mike. I know he's going fast, but what's the excuse from blowing this stretch lead?
Yeah, he gets run down here, and he's getting run down by inferior horses than the ones he's going to be meeting in Friday's race of the day. So he's got a lot of improving to do. Listen, he's got a lot of speed. He did make a fast pace in this race and got tired at the end. He likes Saratoga turf, but it just feels like he's in a little bit tough against horses like this.
Timeform US believes he'll be close to the pace in here, but with a speedster like Strike Power drawn to the outside, as we see from the pace projector, he may have a difficult time making the front. Timeform US has him in second, and while he was run down by inferior competition, Pagliacci's in pretty good form. He came back to run second in a 2X the other day with a 91 Beyer. This horse, the 2 Fixed Point, is a course and distance winner. The 3 is Disco Partner, and he's the big name in this race. He earned a 105 Beyer speed figure most recently. We'll go back to that Grade 3 Troy Stakes where you see him sitting the pocket. It was a very nice trip. He eases out. He really has every chance in this spot, but he just gets run down late by a very sharp turf sprinter in Leinster. He earned a 105 Beyer. Listen, if he runs a 105 Beyer again, he's going to win. But do you still get the feeling that maybe he's not the same Disco Partner that we saw dominating this division the last couple of years?
I mean, it's starting to look like that, although it did take a track record to beat him last time in the Troy. You know, you're right that he had no excuse, Dan. The race was fast, though. The horse that beat him is a lot better than anything he's facing in this spot. So there are ways to look at him and excuse him. You know, listen, he's the most accomplished horse in the race. He's the best horse in the race. His very best race is going to beat this field. It's just a question of what kind of price do you want to take on him. I'm going to take a little shot against him, but I'm not way against this horse.
He has earned 9 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his career, is closing in on $1.5 million in earnings. The very likable Disco Partner will be running late. Sort of the X factor in this race is coming up next. That's the number 4 Mustaqim. This is a horse bred in Australia who is a 7-figure yearling purchase and a Group 1 winner sprinting on the turf in South Africa. Now, his 2 subsequent starts after that, not so good. He has been away a very long time. I just got to take a wait-and-see approach, although I respect Kieran greatly.
I do, too. And, you know, it's interesting that off of this long layoff, he's going to run him in a stakes race. We'll see what happens with this horse, Dan. I couldn't bet him in this race, but I'm interested to see how he runs.
Final Frontier is the number 5, stepping up into the stakes ranks for the first time after a nice non-winners of 2 other win most recently where he broke from the inside post. We're going to take a look at that race right now. He showed good speed, and he basically was ridden out all the way to the wire. Now, this is an inferior field, and he got away with an easy lead, but I just love the way he scampers away from this pace presser in mid-stretch once Jose Lezcano pushed the button.
Yeah, he towered over this field on paper, and when they went out on the track, he won like he towered over them. This was a really impressive win, I thought. It's just interesting to look at him. I mean, he really turned his life around once they switched him to turf last year, and that was going long up here. And then once they cut him back to sprint, he got even better. He's got good speed, but he doesn't need the lead to win. He's stepping way up in class here. He's going to face some better horses, but I think he fits really well in this field.
I agree, and I think you really said a mouthful. He does not need the lead to win. He draws right in the middle of the field where he could probably settle in third in a nice spot turning into the stretch. We'll find out if he's good enough. He's close to fast enough, at least, on speed figures. The 6 is Shecky Shabazz. Looks like a private purchase from his most recent race. He won for $25,000, but boy, he won with a 97 Beyer speed figure. I wonder if it was a little bit of give on the ground, or I wonder if he's been waiting for turf his entire life.
Yeah, it's possible that he just wanted to. Listen, he wasn't bad on synthetic either, but once they switched him to turf, and I know it was a 25 claimer, but he looked pretty good winning. He took pace pressure in there. He shrugged that horse off. He won for fun at the end. You know, the figure says he can go with these horses. I kind of want to see it on the track, though.
The 7 Square Shooter, a reformed claimer for Jeremiah Engelhart, has raced in graded stakes and stakes competition in the past and has always found a couple too tough. But last time out at Laurel, he found his spot. They dropped him into an allowance race on a course with some give. He got right up close to the pace that day. And here he is, the gray in the blinkers, just digging down deep to get this done. He is passed in mid-stretch, Mike, but you got to give him some credit for fighting off the odds-on favorite.
I mean, he did look beat there in mid-stretch, but yeah, I will give him credit for digging in and managing to prevail right at the end of this race. A very game performance. You know, they've tried him in some stakes races in the past. He's not quite up to this level. I just think this race is too tough for him.
What has happened to Lawn Twist's speed? That was one of the things we liked most about him when he was going off at big prices and winning his maiden at Belmont earlier this spring. His last couple of races, it seems like it's now a concerted effort to take him back and try to make one run. We'll look at his most recent race. So 1X at Saratoga earlier in the meet. He is the number 1, easing to the outside with the white cap and the white shadow roll, and he puts in a decent kick, but this race is not going to do it against these better horses.
I wanted to see more of a run from him in this spot, Dan. I don't know why they've decided that he's going to be a closer now because he has more speed than that. But listen, maybe those tactics will work in this race, but you just need to see him finish better than he finished in that race. If he's going to come with that kind of a run from off the pace, he's not going to get anything in here.
The 9 Strike Power is a wickedly fast horse on dirt at the very least. He won the Grade 3 Swale last year. Let's go back to his start 2 starts back in the Grade 2 True North, where he's on the lead as usual down towards the inside in those blue silks. And that's a pretty nice horse beating him in Catalina Cruiser. He's raced only once prior on turf. I think it's best to throw that race out. They ran him around 2 turns, which is not his game. They took him in hand, which is not his game. I expect Johnny V to just send him from the outside and see how far he can take him.
I mean, they have to use his speed this time. I don't know what the plan could have been in the Better Talk Now last year when they were stretching him out from the rail and they take a hold of him and try and rate in that spot. He finished last. I won't hold it against him. I'm not convinced he's a turf horse. But there's turf pedigree here. He's got a lot of speed. I think he makes the lead in this race. And I think that makes him dangerous.
Let's take a look at our top selections in the $100,000 Lucky Coin Stakes. We both agree that Disco Partner is way the horse to beat and a horse that is must use in a multiple race situation. But we both want to give the upwardly mobile Final Frontier the 5. I simply went 5-3 in here. I think if Final Frontier takes a small step forward, he can be right there. And he's likely to get the jump on Disco Partner, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe that's the advantage he has. Maybe he's a little more tactical. And this, you know, let's be honest, 5.5 isn't really Disco Partner's best distance. He's probably better 6 or 7. Maybe that's enough to get him beaten here. We'll see what happens. I went 5, 3, and 9. I'll use a little bit of strike power on the outside, hoping they send him.
5-3-6-1 for me, and the $100,000 Lucky Coin, your feature race at the Spa on Friday. Get involved with the DRF Bets account. Sign up is easy at drf.com/bet. You get a $100 deposit match upon sign up, so start firing away. Approximate post time for the Lucky Coin, 5:50 Eastern. Good luck.